Okay, good morning and welcome to section 1-4. We'll be talking about the different math properties that you'll be using throughout the year. You'll be using three of them a lot: the commutative property, the associative property, and the distributive property. Now, you may not realize that you're using them, especially like the commutative property, which is where you're adding numbers, multiple numbers. It could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 5, it could be 10. But you can add them in any order that you want. So 18 plus 2 is the same as 2 plus 18. 3 plus 6 plus 5 is the same as 5 plus 6 plus 3. It doesn't matter the order that you're adding it. Same way with multiplication. 9 times 7 is the same as 7 times 9. That's why on a multiplication table, when you go down the 3's, 2 times 3 is 6. And then if you go down the 3's, 3 times 2 is also 6. All right? The associative property is a little bit different. It's an easier way to be able to add your numbers together, all right, by something called grouping, all right? So 2 plus 16 plus 4, I can group numbers together that add up to 10 or 5, something that's going to be easier to add to another number. So I group together the 16 and the 4. So 16 plus 4 is 20. So now that makes it a lot easier because 20 plus 2 is just 22. So if you group them by numbers adding up to 10, it'll make things a lot easier. Same way with multiplication. If you group things that are going to multiply together to give you a 0 at the end, it makes life a lot easier. 5 times 4 is what I group together. 5 times 4 is 20. And then 20 times 3 is 60. Since I'm adding things together here, the commutative property also comes into play with the associative because it doesn't matter the order that I add things together. Same way with the associative property. If this had been 4 times 3 times 5, I could still group things together as 5 times 4, even though they weren't sitting side by side. The distributive property is a little bit different and a lot harder to kind of grasp, because it means that you're going to take a multiplication problem and turn it into a multiplication and addition problem. All right? So I'm going to take this larger number, 24, and make it a lot easier to deal with by breaking it into 20 plus 4. Now, I didn't forget about my 9. I have the 9 times 9 on the outside. Now, forget about PEMDAS. Forget about the parentheses. What you need to do first is distribute the 9 here. So 9 times 20 is pretty easy to be able to multiply together now rather than 9 times 24. 9 times 20 is going to be 180 because 9 times 2 is 18. Add the 0, 180. Plus 9 times 4. 9 times 4, you should know, is 36 because you've learned your multiplication table. So now I have, instead of 9 times 24, I now have 180 plus 36, which is easier to be able to kind of add together. So 6 plus 0 gives me 6. 8 plus 3 gives me 11. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, so 216 is my answer. As I said, the distributive property is a lot harder to grasp. Just take the larger number, break it into two smaller numbers, or into something easier, usually something that ends in 0, which is going to make life a lot easier to be able to multiply things together.